This is where it all began for me. These are my roots, this is my legacy, this is my family. I'm Iñaki Orozco, I'm the happy founder of Riazul, family line of tequilas, and we're at the beautiful siting of El Rancho La Pitaya in Los Altos de Jalisco. It was back in the year of 1983 where my father built this beautiful ranch house. I brought together all the family, extended members, not only my mother, my siblings, but also cousins, second cousins, third cousins, even unwanted family came together. That's how fierce my father was about that. It was that inspired me, to launch my tequila, based obviously on the fact that we are sitting on the denomination of origin for tequila in the state of Jalisco, and the fact that the soil was, an amazing culprit for what today have proven to be very special agaves, soil and climate, because we are sitting in one of the highest, most elevated points in the state of Jalisco, which have been absolutely beneficial for the transformation in the fibers and the complexity of our agaves, which have made of this juice a crowd favorite. And it was a little bit after 1983 till I grew a little bit, understood that importance of family bond, and also got a business sense of what I needed to do to get a tequila rolling, that I planted the first agave on this soil. I did need to get the blessing of my great uncle after some little battling here and there, because he knew well that this area was so extreme in terms of climate that it was not prone for the development and the maturation of the agaves. However, nature, spirituality, God proved them wrong, and today we have these beautiful tequilas that come from this land. So when I bring people to this ranch, I want to get them immersed in all that it brings, all that it has to offer, not only related to Riazul, but also related to the love that has been spread in this ranch throughout the years, throughout my family. So what I did with this amazing group of people that's with us here today, I took them to the land where I planted the first agave back in 1999, which today obviously has a new batch of little hijuelos that are 1 year old. And I wanted to show them the different characteristics of the soil and how those play out in the different maturation, physiological maturation of the agaves. Because we also have another batch of agaves planted on the other side of the road, which proves a little bit different in that maturation cycle, just because of different factors, mainly the slope. Slope, as we have in front of us, is beneficial to the agaves because of the flow, of the natural flow of things. Slope brings flow in water, flow in air, flow in heat, flow in cold. When the land is a little more plain, then that flow is not there. So I wanted to give them that experience to see the agaves exposed to different areas. I took them to the town where my grandfather was born, the town of the Unión de San Antonio, where we still keep a townhouse, which is home to part of the family when we all come here for the gatherings and the festivities. A beautiful townhouse built in the early 1800s, which saw my great-great-grandmother, which was a precursor to all of this, throughout the War of Mexican Independence, and her tough grit, she was able to keep that house and keep this land that today is home to not only this beautiful ranch, but our agaves. So we went there, we visited town, we saw the church, and then afterwards I took them to a city called Lagos de Moreno, which is very close to here. It's only a 30-minute drive, and it's a very colonial, very historic city in Jalisco, population-wise, it's actually the second largest after Guadalajara, and it's just a beautiful sighting of church construction and white and very small roads with colonial architecture. So it really envelops a lot of that influence that we got from the Spanish occupation, but with a Mexican feel. People are very harmonious, people are very happy on the streets, everybody's greeting you, everybody's saying hello, even if they don't know you. I wanted them to feel that warmth, that love that people just, spread into the air in Jalisco, which is what at the end populates this ranch, what got me, what triggered my interest and my passion to develop my tequila. At the distillery, the main idea is for them to understand the transformation process of how tequila is made. Tequila is not really a complicated spirit in the way that's been made. We are blessed in that our agave plants, which is a raw material that we use, have been exposed to soil and climate for about 7 years. So there's a lot of richness that goes into the agaves, and this is why I cannot stress enough why the soil and the climate are main culprits in the development of agave and are responsible for a lot of the flavor and complexity profile in the end process. Because a good maestro tequilero is able to appreciate the nuances that come from those agaves and transform them into the end liquid. The agaves are cut in uniform in 4 pieces so that they can go into a grinder. Then after the grinder, we have a small cane shaped like raw agaves that are going to go into the big ovens when they're going to cook for about 3 to 4 days so that the sugar is mashable, is extractable. After they finish cooking, we bring out that cane, that cooked cane, then we're going to grind in a belt. We're going to extract the bliss, the juices, which we're going to use then to feed into the fermentation tanks. We're going to put in tanks. The fermentation is going to start on its own based on the anaerobic and innate bacteria that has been forming in the agaves along the years of maturation and have been spiked through the cooking and the mashable part. So we're going to use part of that cooked agave into our tanks with that pressed liquid to start the fermentation, and then based on the observation of our maestro tequilero, he's going to decide which strain of yeast he's going to use to aid our natural yeast to continue the process of fermentation. That takes another 3 to 4 days. Once that's concluded, it's all about rectifying the flavors. So the flavors that came out of fermentation are going to be rectified in the distillation tank. In our case, it's a 2-process distillation. We put all the resultant fermented juice into the first distillation tank at a very precise temperature. We work on the sweet part of the agave to extract and rectify and perfect those sweet flavors and evaporate the alcohols that we cannot digest as humans. And then once that's done, we go into the second part of distillation to rectify even further, cutting out a little bit of that bitter part of the component, of the main component of the agave. And once the distillation is done, if it's a plata, we rest it for 15 days in open wood casks. If it's a repo, it goes into new, well now reused wood, American and French oak for a period of 9 months. If it's the añejo, it goes to our fantastic dark Tronchet cured cognac casks for 24 months. And when that process is done, this is what we get.